Hello, it's Nikki. Welcome to a brand new series. I've got my notebook, so you know I am serious today. 10 years ago, I qualified as a coach. And at the time, becoming a coach was a very odd decision because previous to going and finding out some information about coaching, I knew nothing about coaching. Yet within a week, I was signed up on a course, I'd paid loads of money, and I was dedicating whole big chunks of my life to this thing. And 10 years is not to be sniffed at, especially in an industry that begun where people were like, what are you doing? Are you brainwashing people? Mental health, coaching, self-development was not spoken about in 2012, 2013. And to be here in 2023, I have a lot to say about this. But it's not all going to be about me, obviously. Hopefully you'll find lots of things that you can apply and play with and consider. And I thought it would be really interesting to discuss because quite often we see the moment where people say, I've invested, or I'm making a change, or I'm doing something. And actually, 10 years is quite a significant amount of time. And so for myself, I not only wanted to go back and explore and see what's going on, because I really feel like a new chapter is beginning in my own life as well. And often when that happens, I like to go back, I like to reflect, I like to think about things, etc. So I've got 10 things for you, which I'm going to be sharing over the next few episodes. And feel free to grab a piece of paper and a pen and write down some things that come to mind, things that you could play with, things that resonate, things that make you go, ooh, things that make you go, ooh. Or even I might say something and you'd be like, I don't know how I would make that work. They're simply there for tools to play around with and see how you get on. So a little backstory. It was 2011 and I had just turned 30. And we'd also had quite a few deaths in the family too. And I was just not really in a great place. I know I had to be all like, yeah, I've just turned 30, woo! But I wasn't. I was not. And I wasn't where I thought I would be at 30. And I've spoken about this on something new that I'm brewing. But I had a bit of an intervention from my mum. And she hasn't done this many times in my life. And she's not kind of coming from a place where I know all the things and you know nothing. But she gently would say, shall we meet up? Shall we meet up? And at the time she was up north, I was here. So we met. And we met between us in Peterborough at a really terrible hotel. You know when hotels look really nice on the website and then you get there and you think, when did they take those photos? And we were in this room which really just smelt of smoke and whatever else. And I remember, and you know when you get into a hotel room and the curtains are drawn and you think, what are they trying to cover up? They were covering up the view because when I opened the curtains, all I literally saw was a brick wall. And it was about 1 meter, this view. So all you could see was this brick wall. And even though I was in a pretty dark time at that stage, the brick wall, it even brought a smile to my face because I just thought this exactly summarizes where I'm up to. Anyway, I knew I needed to make a change. I knew I wasn't where I wanted to be. And I dabbled with a few things. And this is the moment, and I guess this is the first lesson. Things kind of looked okay on paper. But internally, I had this thing of like, I'm not doing what I want to be doing, or I thought I would be further on, or almost this moment of like, is this it? Is this it? All this hard work, all this stuff that I'm doing, and I'm still getting that feeling on a Friday night of going, anyway, so, and I know that I'm not very good. I know that I'm not my best when I'm in that not bothered kind of thing. So it was time to make a change. Now, my list of requirements were always, and they continue to be, and they always have since being school. I didn't want to live a life where I dreaded Mondays, or I'd have an extra biscuit on a Wednesday because, woo, it's hump day. And I didn't want to always be wishing my life away, or wishing the days away, or counting down to the next holiday or the bank holiday. And yet I knew that I needed to create income. I knew that I needed flexibility. So this has always been the thing about being an actor, is I've always required that flexibility, because auditions quite often come in late. And when I mean late, I mean like 10 to 6, and they go, well, they'd love to see you at 10 tomorrow. And you've got to be really flexible to be able to make that work. And there are a lot more self-tapes and things like that now. But at that time, self-tapes were not really a thing unless it was for America or a big TV thing. So you would have to find cover for the work that you had in between, or you'd have to do that work at some other point. And so I was in this point where I just felt like I was a bit stuck. So I wanted to earn more money, and I wanted to have more space, and I wanted to be able to do more acting. And I just felt like I was kind of backed into a corner. And so at that time, I was listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of self-development things. And then somebody mentioned to me about coaching. I was like, I don't really know what this coaching is. Like, do I have to coach a basketball team? Is this what this is? Fortunately, it wasn't. It was all about applying the tools of coaching. So in a nutshell, helping somebody identify where they are right now, helping somebody identify where they want to be, and figuring out that bit in between. That's basically what coaching is. And I went on this weekend course, and it was free. And it was very immersive. It was very much like High Five a Stranger. A lot of stand up and sit down and all of that very self-development-y stuff. And at first I was like, I think I'm in the wrong room. And I'm not very good when I'm in that situation, because for about 10 to 10, I was thinking, I need to go. I need to go. There is other things that I could be doing with my weekend. And I went into that mindset talk. But I stayed. And as the sessions went on during the day, I thought to myself, there's something in this. There is something in this. Something is speaking to me. And I went home on that Saturday night, and Matt had a very slow day at home. And I immediately sat on the sofa, and he was like, how was it? And I was like, and it all came out. And then, which was even weirder on a Saturday night, I cleaned my whole house from top to bottom, like decluttered. Like I felt like, I don't know, it felt like I needed to complete some sort of ceremony or something like that. I've never had that moment since, and maybe my house could do with that ceremony. But it was really interesting. Anyway, I woke up on the Sunday, and I was back there again. I was back there again at 9 o'clock. And then it became more of a sales pitch. So that moment of, have you enjoyed today's course? Have you got loads of value from it? Do you feel like you could do something like this? And everyone's going, yeah. And so I then thought, right, all of these memories are coming back. That's why I'm hesitating, going, oh my gosh, yes, I remember it well. So then I was in this point where I was nodding and going, yeah, this would be really great. Yes, I could be a great coach. Yes, this could apply to all sorts of things. This could be what I'm looking for. And then the dawning happened, where I thought, I'm now going to have to join the course, aren't I? I'm now going to have to complete the course and do the work. And this was not really in the plan. I mean, yesterday, by lunchtime, I was thinking, can I go to Topshop in Oxford Circus? I wasn't thinking about high-fiving another stranger. Anyway, you had to apply. You were interviewed. You had to pay the money. And I got a place on the course. In a nutshell. The sirens are coming now, but I'm going to carry on because here we go. Okay, they've passed. That happened. I signed up for the course. Now, the first thing, and I'm 10 minutes in already, and I'm only just getting to the first point. So that was a very long-winded introduction. I want to talk about that moment that you know is a yes. Yes, it would do. Yes, it would do that. Yes. Oh yeah, actually it'd be great for that. And under that is the fear, the practicality, the, oh my goodness, I've never spent that much money on that thing before. But then going back to the yes, but I know in the long term, da 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 da. And how do you move past that? The first thing that I did was very simplistic. I sat down with a piece of paper and a pen, a line down the middle, and I wrote the pros and cons. What are the pros of actually doing this? And what are the cons? And I made decisions from where I was right now, but I also played with different future versions of myself. So I thought about what would happen a year from now. What would happen 10 years from now? What would happen from 5 years from now? And bizarrely, and I think that this is why it's poignant to say this, is I did that exercise of what happens if I do this 10 years from now. And I'm really glad that I did, because lots of those things have come true. But they didn't come true immediately. They took a lot of time and effort and working it out and failing and trying again and experimenting and then having babies and then being so tired I could not string a sentence together, and all of it. But I kept coming back to the big picture and remembering that I was at the point, almost like a fork in the road, where, and I know lots of people talk about this, like a sign. I'm waiting for my sign, or a message, or I'll know when it's my time. And the thing was, at that stage, all the signs were there to do this thing. It ticked every box, being able to have extra income, being able to have a skill that could be applicable in lots of different ways. And I knew that it was right. I also had the money saved. Like, the money was there. I could do that. And that hasn't always been the case with investments. And I've done payment plans and all sorts of things. All legal, of course. But yet there was something holding me back. And what I now know was holding me back was that fear of stepping into the next phase. And I knew that I was not ready. I was just like, oh no, I can't do this, or what if, and I was one of the youngest people there. A lot of people, in their 50s and their 60s, and it just wasn't a young person's game. I mean, I'm not that now, obviously, but I was 29, 30 at the time. And yeah, I was in a different phase of life, essentially. And so I looked at the pros and cons. I also looked really practically at what it was going to take and what I was going to need to sacrifice. And this is a really important stage when we're making change, because on those days where it gets tough and you don't want to do it, or you're doubting yourself, or you're questioning every decision, you need to have almost like a map or a foundation or something to refer back to, where you have that, oh, okay, oh, I knew this would happen. Right, okay. Almost as if you were doing a long journey in a car and somebody before you set off said, watch out on junction 42, there's roadworks. And so by the time you get to junction 42, you're like, oh yes, they did say roadworks around here. It's all right, they're clearing now. Okay, fine. But I knew that they were coming. I have done that for lots of the decisions that I've made in my life. Because then what happens, and of course there are other surprises that come along the way, and you're like, oh, I didn't envisage that tricky thing would happen, but yet here we are. But coming back to that original big vision is so important. So the fact that I had done my pros and cons list of the decision, I felt like I was in a really strong place. And do you know what? It felt like I could make a decision from a full place. So I felt like I couldn't almost like ask any more questions because there was no more information to be had. It was like when we moved into this house, there's that moment where you're like, well, let's just go ahead then and pay the money because there's nothing else that we need to do, and the only next step is to do the thing. It was like that. I also went into big details of what is it going to take. And knowing that it was going to take some hours, effort, energy, dedication, self-reflection, all of it, stood me in good stead because it took all of those things, every single one of them, every step of the way. As you can see, I have a lot to say on this topic, so do come back for part 2 and let me know what resonated today. I also have something very exciting launching this week, helping you to make a big transition. So do keep looking out and watching and all of that good stuff, and I'll share all the links. If you want to book a Ask Me Anything session with me or a strategy session, go to my website. You can do it all there. You can book via my calendar, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, lots of love. Bye.